Bogus GOP Arizona audit confirms the obvious. Biden won. The former president's ability to force elements of his Republican Party to reject Democratic values was earlier in evidence yet again, hours after Trump published a public letter to Texas GOP Governor Greg Abbott demanding an election audit. The Office of Texas Secretary of State announced Thursday that the process had already begun in the two largest Democratic-leaning counties and the two biggest Republican counties, Dallas, Harris, Tarrant, and Collin. Trump wrote in his letter that Texans know voting fraud occurred in some of their counties. Let's get to the bottom of the 2020 presidential election scam. The audit will take place even though there is no evidence that the election in the Lone Star State was compromised or saw any significant voter fraud. And Trump won the state easily. The Texas Tribune reported in May that an official in the Secretary of State's office had earlier reported to state lawmakers that 2020 voting in Texas was smooth and secure.
By persuading the Texas authorities to look into the election, Trump gets the veneer of authority for his false claims. And it creates yet another precedent of interference in vote counting and election certification, which was previously seen as walled off from politicization, that threatens to taint elections in 2022, 2024, and for years to come. Details of the partisan report in Arizona emerged hours before GOP members of the state Senate were due to present the findings of an audit carried out by sirens-of-atlantis, a firm that had no experience in elections, had links to Trump's orbit, and conducted a bizarre process carried out in secrecy. Maricopa County officials confirmed that the review established Biden's victory over Trump, but they warned that the draft report was also littered with errors and faulty conclusions about how Maricopa County conducted the 2020 general election. That material is likely to be seized upon by Trump diehards seeking to bolster his false claims that he was cheated out of remaining in the White House. Trump's multiple threats to democracy. All of these ongoing threats to faith in American democracy arise out of Trump's election night claim, "Frankly, we did win this election." The path that the ex-president took led to a cascade of consequences that underscore that while he left the White House on January 20th, the threat he poses to American democracy is still growing. For instance, taken together, these steps, plus the Texas and Arizona audits, reveal a broad effort by Trump and his acolytes to fog the truth about the 2020 election. But they are also meant to provide a rationale and power base for a possible new Trump tilt at the White House in 2024 and to potentially establish a mechanism to steal power. Trump still fuming over Arizona. Arizona is an especially sore point for the ex-president, who was furious when Fox News, which he regarded as an extension of his team, called the state for Biden on election night, well ahead of other news organizations. The state was also one of several, including swing states like Georgia and Pennsylvania, where elected officials from both parties and professional election staff stood firm against extraordinary pressure from Trump to change the results. The former president quickly turned against a former favorite, Republican Governor Doug Ducey, who presided over the certification of the election results after saying he was sworn to uphold the law. The ex-president was still fuming over Ducey's role on Thursday, calling him a lousy governor and a true rhino in an interview with John Fredericks on Real America's Voice, a conservative network. And the ex-president showed that he has high expectations for the Arizona sham audit. "I think the report is going to be very good. I hope they don't soften it," Trump said in an interview that he also used to make a delusional claim that he had won not just Arizona, but also Minnesota in 2020, where he lost to Biden by 7 points. Given the lack of a genuine need for the investigation, it has long been clear that the process had two aims. First, to discredit Biden's victory in the key county, Maricopa, that helped him become the first Democrat to win the Grand Canyon state since 1996 on the way to the White House. The second and even more important goal was to appease Trump and curry favor with his core supporters, whose devotion is the driving force within the GOP today. Just the fact of a fake audit being conducted by a party whose candidate lost an election certified as free and fair marks a political aberration. But the willingness of so many people to buy into a demonstrably false, big lie to keep or win power that mushroomed from the then-president's egotistical refusal on election night to admit that he lost to Biden is extraordinary. The process is also a symbol of the shameless misinformation and assault on truth now perpetrated by large sections of the Republican Party and a conspiracy theory-driven conservative media. And it's one of the more extreme expressions of the culture of the confidence trick at the center of Trumpism. This story and headline have been updated to reflect a draft of findings from an election review ordered by Arizona Senate Republicans.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.